Nataneti, Internet Sales Manager at Jerry Durant Toyota, Texas. Call or text him at 817-231-3696 or visit his website at goo.gl. He'll give you a great deal on the car of your dreams. Even if you're not in Texas, he can still give you a deal on a car. Check him out right now, Shawn Nataneti, GoShawnAuto.com. Sit or Start Fantasy Football. Described as users as fast, solid, innovative, a one-of-a-kind app that you can use to get an advantage in your league. Sit or Start Fantasy Football gives you a side-by-side comparison tool that will help you to decide who to start as far as quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and defense. Download the app today, Sit or Start Fantasy Football, and use referral code BS3 to enter in for some great prizes, tickets to a game, memorabilia. Download the app today, Sit or Start Fantasy Football.
In the BS3 Sports Show, and we got one of the special guests on the line, Author Carla Thomas, a writer of The Pain I Endured. How's it going, Carla?
Good. How is it going with you?
Good. Such a great opportunity to get you on the show to talk about a very inspiring book. Maybe give the listeners some background on, how the book got started, or, how you came up with the concept of the book.
I came up with the concept of the book from started, with my childhood and, things I experienced, which caused me to have bad relationships and stuff throughout the relationships that I've been in. And it also talks about the deeper part of the book. It also talks about a guy who I was in a relationship with, who was like my best friend, and we was real good friends, and we got into a relationship. And I found out that he never got a divorce, and we both was in the church and everything, and serving God and everything, and that he never divorced his wife, and we was living together and had this real close relationship. And I found out that he never divorced his wife. And so, and in the book, I'm talking about how she found out that we was in a relationship and he was living with me, and started to kind of harass me, make false accusations on my job, and call my phone and doing all these prank phone calls and, just stupidity and stuff like that. And so it caused our relationship to really go sour because I was really hurt from him not being honest. And, he later came and told me because he has to play a certain role in the church with his daddy, by his daddy being a pastor and has a church, and that he's sorry that he hurt me, but it was all because of him trying to portray an image for his dad's church,
right? How
they go trying to get somewhere within the church. And I said, but that's not the way to go. It's either you're going to be in, or it's either you ain't, and this is not something that we can be trying to do, being that we both supposed to be a woman and man of God, and we're in the church. And then people be looking at us crazy and stuff. So it came from a lot of baggage and stuff that he had in his past or whatever. Basically kind of just like him not being able to be his own man and stand up for himself and set aside, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, with him being that particular child, of his parents that didn't stand up to his parents and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not fin to be trying to play a role for anybody to get anywhere in life, because that's not what God wants. And I told him, I'm like, that's not of God or what we doing. You either need to divorce her or we either have to walk away from each other because this is not of God and what we was, what we was doing. It's like we basically living a lie. So I told him that, it's like you're living two different lives. And he was like, that's not true. I'm not living two different lives. She knows about you. I said, yeah, but you never divorced her. Nobody cannot play a role for anybody. I'm not going to play a role for nobody in my family, and you shouldn't play a role for nobody in your family. So that's what was brought up about the book, and that's how I finished the book. I had been holding on to I started writing this book 14, 15 years ago.
Wow.
And so when this stuff here happened to me, I had so much anger built up inside of me because I put so much into this relationship, and this was a great guy, and we had a great friendship. So I decided to put this in the book of what I started back 14 years ago, of what happened to me in my childhood. So that was the making of the first book. So I put all that into the book.
Wow. I mean, that's an amazing story and testimony. I'm sure there's a lot of women, like you have in the title, every woman has been there. But also, I think it comes down to us just being honest. If you're in a relationship, you got to be honest, or else you're lying to each other every day.
Right. And that's what was happening. And that's why I put the title like that, and that's why I say every woman has a story, every woman has been there. Because even when I start talking to people, they say, "Oh my God, that's the same thing I've been in." And luckily for me, we was only in a relationship a year and a half, even though we were so close. We was bonded. But it's some women that say, "Oh, I've been in it 7 to 8 years," and I'm like, "Oh my God, like that's not a life that nobody wants to live." And I'm like, I knew it was something because, he started having a lot of bad nightmares and stuff like that. So that was all based on his conscience and, things that he was doing, that wasn't right. And so I knew that it wasn't things that wasn't right, about it because my spirit kept picking it up. But I knew eventually that it'll come out. And eventually it came out. It came out in a worse way, but it did come out.
Right. And we're talking to Author Carla Thomas, talking about the book, The Pain I Endured. Every woman has been there. Every woman has a story. So what would you tell to a woman who's getting ready to read the book or buy the book, and they've been through so many different things, but that pain is still there? What would you tell them to ways to get through that?
First of all, it takes a lot of prayer. I built a war room in my closet, and it takes a lot of praying. It takes of a woman to, first, she has to love herself first. She has to build that relationship with God. If she doesn't have that relationship, she has to build that relationship with God and put herself first. When she put herself first and pray, God will open up your mind. He will clear your heart from that, and he will heal you from the pain, because God loves the brokenhearted. He wants us when we're brokenhearted to lean on him more and not lean on the man of that flesh, but to lean more on him. So that's what they have to learn to do. Love yourself. Put yourself first. When you see those signs, I've seen all those signs. I seen those signs and I ignored them like it wasn't nothing. And the spirit kept telling me, because I was like, no, this is a great man. He takes care of me. He takes care of my daughter. He loves me. He loves my daughter. He treats me like a queen. Yeah, he did those things, but also what about the things that he did that wasn't right of God? And that's what I had to start looking at. But I was totally ignoring those things because I was looking at how great he was. Yeah, he might have been a great man, but how great was he to live this life that he was living?
Right, true. I mean, I think it's great points that you made. Basically, you got to love yourself, and then, really be able to, think about the situation that you were in. Man, how did you? So we talked about what happened. What was kind of the end result? I don't know if that'll break down the story, the book too much, but kind of what was the end result of how everything went down?
Well, it's the end result is that after, things kind of blew up, between us or whatever, and it was, it was really heated, and we kind of separated ourselves. We still talk, as friends, and but he knew that I was coming out. He knew that I was writing a book, and I told him that I had to find some type of way to help heal myself. And all the anger and the hurt that I experienced, I had to put it into words. So the spirit would be talking to me all during the night, and so I would get up and I would be writing, and so I had to put it into the book. And so he didn't like that because he didn't want it to be out there, and I think because people that know him knows that, oh no, not him. He's a great guy. He's a church-going guy raised by a Christian family. Oh, no, that's not him. Or he don't want anybody from the church to know, and then it to make his dad look like a certain way, and then he felt like that he would let his dad down. So he didn't want that. So with that being said, that it just went cold.
Right.
He had to go his way, and I had to go my way. He had to grow and learn from that, and so do I. I'm sure he grew and learned from that. He realized what he did was a mistake. The last time I talked to him, that's what he said. What I did was wrong, and what I did, was a mistake. And now he's trying to heal himself because he has to forgive himself, not only for what he did to me, but for whatever he did to his, told his family, whatever he told her because he got tired of her harassing him, and also for a woman who is going through a divorce or going through that situation. And when you and your husband separate, I want women to also know that you don't have the right to go over to another woman's house. You don't have a right to call her job and harass her and make false accusations against her. You don't have the right to harass that woman. If that's what's meant to be for you and your husband to get back together, then you let God see if that's what it's meant to be. But if it's not, you don't have the right to harass that woman. You don't have the right to do all these immature things that his ex-wife did to me. You don't have the right to do that. So I learned from that, as well that, just because he's a nice guy, I can't trust everything that he said. When the flags go up and the spirit show me things, I got to receive those things, and I refuse to receive them.
Right, exactly. And, yeah, I think you made a great point. I think women go after the other woman, and it's really not their fault. The guy is the one that's at the center of it all, but I think you want to push the anger towards somebody else. So, so what are a couple of, one or two takeaways that you want the reader to get from this book that they can be able to think about when they're going to buy it, or if they're thinking about buying it?
One thing I want them to take away from the book is the experience. If you have been there, that was your experience, and that was a lesson from you. That was a lesson that you learned, that you will know not to cross it again. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women cross those paths because some women, for some reason, they find it attractive to mess with or get involved with married men. No, I don't find it to be attracted. I've always was kind of afraid of meeting a guy and, oh, my God, he's being the right guy and a nice guy, but being married and not knowing. And in this situation with him, I knew he was going through a divorce and tried to allow him the opportunity. But when I opened up myself like I normally don't do and allow him the opportunity, and then the opportunity came, but then it was the wrong opportunity. So I think women that have been through that need to learn from this and learn. If you meet a man, they be like, oh, I'm going through a divorce, run. 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 You don't want to hear that? Run. No, you need to walk away, go the other way. Okay, you need to holler at me, homeboy, when you got your divorce.
Right.
Other than that, she don't need to waste her time.
Right.
Because that's what they all say. Oh, she ain't this and she ain't that, and we going through a divorce. No, you can't believe what they said. You can't try to give them the benefit of the doubt. And back in the day, you know, you can give a man a benefit of the doubt, but you can't give him a benefit of the doubt anymore, because guess what? They take that and run with it. And if they can live 2 different lives or 4 different lives or 3 different lives, that's what these men are trying to do now. They'll tell you one thing, tell her something else, and be telling their family something else and living all these different lives. And so that's what women have to be careful